Hey, welcome to Echoes of Impact with Noura. This is your host, Noura Almasri. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to talk about nonprofit a lot. I have two amazing guests are joining us. One guest, she works with a lot of nonprofit and she's very well known in the nonprofit arena. Through her business, she helps a lot of nonprofit. And another guest, she founded a nonprofit for the girls. I'm not going to tell you a lot about them. Stay with me until the end, and you will hear from both of them. You're going to hear a lot of new information, revolutionary mindset. You need to shift your mindset about your board of director if you are nonprofits, about the CEO, about a lot of things. I'm really happy to talk to Sabrina today and also to Beth at the end about her nonprofits. Now, before we get into our guests, I want to highlight something very important. When you are a nonprofit, you signed up to actually learn, and learn. Not only for nonprofit, also when you sign up for a business, any business. And like I always say, nonprofit is a business and you have to treat it as one to be successful. Otherwise, unfortunately, you are not going to have a thriving nonprofits. And it's going to take the energy out of you instead of giving you energy from the help that you're giving and the impact you are giving to the world. So in order to have a healthy nonprofit, you need to learn new skills. You need to implement them. I have a lot of nonprofits connected with me in the past few weeks. They received letters of penalty from the IRS. Yes, they are nonprofit and the IRS asking them to pay tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars for some of them in penalties. Why? Because when most people come into nonprofits, they have this romantic view. They want to create an impact. They want to change the world. But very few people take the time to learn and see what are they getting themselves into. You need to be learning new skills. You need to know how to stay in compliance. Compliance is very important. So two things you need to worry about in order to maintain a healthy organization. One of them is having money in all the time, and the other one is actually having staff that helps you being in compliance. And it doesn't have to be a staff. It can be your tax professional, your lawyer, your anyone who can help you with compliance, right? So, but you need team as well. And when it comes to nonprofit, teams mean your board members, your staff, your consultants, and lastly, volunteer. But never rely on volunteer, because if you rely on volunteer, you're not going to have a thriving nonprofit. You need to break down a lot of misconceptions about nonprofits because that's going to break your organization. You're going to have to break the mindsets of being a board member. What does it mean to be a board member? And we're going to talk about that a lot with Sabrina. I also have a lot of misconceptions covered on my book, How to Start, Manage, and Prosper with a Nonprofit. The book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It teaches you exactly what you need to think about, what you need to learn. Now, it's not going to teach you every single step widely, but it's going to open your eye to see what you're missing, what you need to keep track of, what skills you need to have, what type of people you need to have on your team. So it's going to guide you on how to build a sustainable, healthy nonprofit. So go ahead and grab the book. It's just very, very easy to read. It's available on my website, on Amazon, and on Barnes & Noble. So make sure you learn. You cannot lead a business or a nonprofit if you do not continuously learning. This is the must if you want to be successful. A mistake a lot of people do, they think when they graduate from school or college or whatever they're graduating from, that's done. That's done. If you want to go to a master's degree, that's done. If your goal is just to graduate from high school, you think you're done. You will never done regardless if you're getting a PhD or you stopped at the high school or even before. You are never done learning. This is just to teach you how to learn. When I was going to DePaul, I went to DePaul for my master, and we had a professor saying, you are here just to learn how to run. I remember when he said that, I was like, really? All of that just to learn how to learn? But you know what? He was right. That's exactly what it is. You go to school to learn how to learn. And then you have your entire life to keep learning. Imagine now with AI, a lot of people thinking, oh, AI is going to take our job. AI will never take your job. It will make your job be easier. That's what it's going to do. You have to pivot. You have to change the way to do work because you're going to be more efficient. You're going to be able to take more clients. You're going to be able to raise more money for your nonprofit. You're going to be able to do a lot of great things using technology, using the new research. You need to keep learning, sign up for a coaching program when you need it, sign up for a course when you need it, learn from experts when you don't have time to do that and you have the money to invest in one-on-one teaching. So you want to make sure you see what's the best way to learn. Go ahead and do it. You can learn tons of information for free watching Echoes of Impact and other business show here and Now Media. You can watch tons of information for free from YouTube, from TikTok. Well, don't rely on TikTok though, because there's not enough time to cover all the bases. Plus, a lot of people are giving some not accurate advice. So you want to verify whatever you're learning. That's what you need to do. But you need to learn. You can access the free information, implement, try, and then move on to the next level and the next level as you move on in your career, your business, your nonprofit. That's the only way to thrive in this age or before and after and forever. You need to keep learning. That is the only way. When you're ready, go get the training, the one-on-one training, if you ever need it. You might be able to cover all the learning from reading different books, from hiring experts, from whatever, from YouTube. Who knows? It depends on what you are planning to do. But no one's gonna take the human job. Like, it's just gonna make either our life easier or harder. It depends on how you are using it. So make sure you know what to do. You keep learning. If you are in nonprofits, then treat your nonprofit as a business. There is no difference. And you will see, this is not only me saying that. And I love it when I meet individuals, they have the same view for nonprofits, because now you don't only hear it from me thinking that I want you to buy my services or to buy my coaching program or my book. No, it's all other people who understand and has been with successful nonprofits, and they coached people to get to that level of being a successful nonprofit. So you're gonna hear from Sabrina. She has a unique story. She has a unique view for the board of director. She trains CEO on how to deal with the board and a lot more. And you can work with her just going online, like you can work with me just coming online. Our guest at the end, you can support her nonprofit with donating online. You can do everything from where you are right now. You do not need anything. You're watching us from home, from your mobile phone, from TV. I don't know where, or maybe listening to the radio or or the podcast. I don't know where, but it's on your demand, the world on your demands. So stay with me until the end. I can't wait to talk to my guests. I can't wait to share what I know about them and what they have learned throughout their career. and the great things they are doing to make an impact. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and this is Echoes of Impact. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. I am really excited now because we are hosting a very special guest, a guest who has been working with business owners, with nonprofits, with a lot of great stuff. I'm not going to talk about what she was doing. I'm going to have her tell you about what she's doing. We are going to talk to Sabrina Walker. She is the president and CEO at Supporting World Hope Coaching and Consulting LLC. Welcome, Sabrina. Thank you so much for coming in the show today.
No, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and to have this conversation.
Of course, we are lucky to have you here today. Shining. So thank you so much. I want to tell the audience a little bit about how did you came to the scope of, or the space of nonprofit consulting.
Yeah, well, I've been in the nonprofit industry for almost 30 years. I'm slightly shy of 2 years being in the nonprofit industry. I started out, I was in political science, majoring in political science, wanted to go to law school. And I did an internship my senior year with a nonprofit called Advocacy Resource Center for Housing, ARCH, and it was about mediation between tenants and landlords. And I got exposed to that, and I realized that I didn't want to go to law school, but I did love advocating for those who didn't have a voice. And so that led me down the path of working in a nonprofit. And I went on to grad school and got a master's in public administration. And then from there, worked for the county for a couple of years, working with all the nonprofits in my county, which is Hidalgo County. We're located along the Texas-Mexico border in the third poorest county in the United States, and worked with those organizations. And then from there, migrated into an organization where I stayed for 20 years and retired from that organization.
Wow, that's an impressive journey.
Yeah.
All of us have our own unique story on how do we ended up advocating and working with nonprofits. And it seems like if we are mission oriented people, we kind of stick there. I started my tax and accounting service, and I found myself really having a lot of services and advocacy for nonprofits. And look at you, I know also you help businesses. So how do you help business?
Yeah, my business, actually, I launched my business from my hospital bed. I retired in 2018, and I retired and I got diagnosed with two cancers, two blood cancers, one non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and the other one was multiple myeloma. And so when you're in the hospital, I went through all my chemo, and then in 2019, I had a stem cell transplant. So when you're in the hospital from a stem cell transplant, you're just in the hospital for 30 days, no exposure. It's like being reborn again. No exposure to anybody but the nurses and that. So my husband realized I was going a little bit stir crazy, and he got me my computer. And I said, I want to support nonprofit leaders who are often overworked, overwhelmed, underpaid, and stressed out. And I thought, what can I do to support our industry? And that's when I launched Supporting World Hope. And I launched it in hopes to provide low-cost services, no-cost or low-cost services to the industry, just to support the industry. And what I've started out as a generalist, and I still consider myself a generalist, but what I realized is that I absolutely love board of directors, but I think that I need to help CEOs work with board of directors, and how do you get your board of directors to fundraise? So I really train CEOs, board of directors, and employees in leadership skills that's going to lead to, revenue, relationships, and retention. And so that's where I put my focus at.
That's really important because the board, well, from what I've seen, I spoke to thousands of nonprofit leaders. What I see often, the board members, they are the reason why the nonprofit did not, like accelerate and move to
Right.
the next level. And they are the reason, like, why they want, like no more nonprofits. They take years to just take their foot out of the ground. And then often before they even take their foot up off the ground, they dispose everything, like no longer an interest
Right. Right.
nonprofits. So this is important that you're working with the board because they can make or break the organization. So
That
what do you do exactly? So how does it look like when you train the board? What do you do?
So really, I use this framework called the BUILD framework. And B stands for brand, U is unleash, I is inspire, L is leverage, and then D is discover. But the brand really, believe it or not, it starts with the leadership and the CEO, the executive director or the founder. But I always use the title CEO because it's a mindset. So a CEO is talking to another CEO. So the B stands for brand, and that's brand yourself. It starts with yourself. A lot of times, CEOs, if they're just starting out, like a founder, they will get their mother, brother, or cousin to serve on the board. That is not going to be sufficient, right? That's just not. They know the same people, they were in the same circles. And so that's not what is going to help you. When it's a CEO of a organization that's been around for a while, sometimes they consider their board like a necessary evil and they don't really engage their board, or they try to engage their board by sending an email, and that's not going to work. And so I really start with the CEOs and their leadership skills and their mindset on how to work with the board, because we have to remember board members are individuals that are part of our society. And so if you don't work in the nonprofit industry, you have these preconceived notions about what it means to be in a nonprofit, right? So some of those preconceived notions are, oh, nonprofits can't make money. Oh, nonprofits, we can't charge for that. Oh, a nonprofit employee should not be paid what they're worth. They should be out of the goodness of their heart. Oh, as a board member, my job is just to come in and tell the CEO what to do. These are all assumptions that the world or the industry, the outside of our industry tells us, but they are not the case. And so when you are the CEO and you're starting with brand, it means increase your skill set around the best practices. Look at those organizations that are excelling and that have that board that you want, and see what that CEO is doing. They are training their board. They're sending their board off to conferences. They're better themselves, and they're understanding how to work with that board. And so you have to start with yourself first. That's a long answer, but it's the truth.
No, this is very important because I would tell them, like, if you do not treat your nonprofit as a business, it's gonna fail. So
Right.
like starting your nonprofit or being hired as a CEO or executive director for the nonprofit, you are not going to be successful unless you treat it as your baby, your business.
Your business.
Everything you would do for your business, you would do for a nonprofit. And
Exactly.
even
You're telling the truth.
Yeah. Even I
You're
have to spend them hundreds of thousands of money, like, and as a penalty if they don't do things right. So
Right.
there are more requirements there.
And you have to educate your board that it is a business. A lot of times, again, remember your board are bringing those assumptions to the boardroom, to your nonprofit. And so they may come in with the mindset of it is not a business. And usually they are business people, and they would never tell their business, oh, let's keep sinking money into this project that's not working. Or, oh, we can't spend money on marketing. Or, oh, we can't do that. And so you have to own it, that it is a business, because Nonprofit is just a tax designation. It's not the business model. You still have to have a budget. You still have to track revenue and expenses. You still have to charge for your services. You might not be charging the total price, but you still have to have revenue. And it's okay to save money. That is the point. What you do with the money is what sets you apart from a for-profit, right? So you can create an endowment. You can increase your program services. So you're giving back to your clients, but you need to be a healthy, thriving business. And you are responsible, that brand, you are responsible for breaking all the assumptions that your board members have.
Absolutely. I can't agree more with you. I love what we're talking about, but we're going to take a quick break and then come back to talk to you more about this. Guys, this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Echoes of Impact with Noura, and this is your host, Noura Almasri. We were talking to Sabrina about nonprofits, the board of director, training the CEO, and here we are back with her. Welcome back, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you're talking about the CEO and how important it is for the CEO to train themselves, to brand themselves, to treat the nonprofit as a business. And we ended like they can save money, they can have money. And I don't know, where did this misconception came from? I spoke to a lot of people saying, we have to deplete our accounts before the end of the year. I'm like, who said so? You cannot do that. How can you pay your staff? How can you work? How can you operate?
Right.
So my assumption, I don't know if you have any assumption around this, but my assumption, maybe because of like people who win a grant, I think this is the period, the life of the grant, and you have to finish the funding before then. That's the only assumption I can come off.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I don't know where it came from, but that does make sense. Like if you're purely grant funded, and that's the grant, and it says if you don't spend it, you lose it, then you could have that framework because that's where your funding comes from. But most viable nonprofits, this is what I tell them all the time: no more than 20% of your revenue should come from one source. So you should always be monitoring your budget, right? And seeing like, hey, are we 90% grant funded? Because if you are, I would, in my personal journey, I would be afraid, because what happens is if you lose that funding, then your organization goes away. And those are the conversations that you need to be having with your board. Those are the strategic conversations. That's why you're reviewing the financials on a monthly basis, not just to make sure we have money, but it's also to look at where's our revenue coming from. Are we tapping into individuals? Are we tapping into foundations? Are we tapping into corporations? Are we tapping into program fees? Where is our money coming from, and where can we grow revenue? Where can we save on the expense side? Those are the strategic conversations that are supposed to be had in the boardroom. But what I find is the CEO will just, here's the report, and there's no conversations around it if you're giving a report. So yeah, we have a lot to work on. So there's some best practices out there that you really need to be looking at. And so that's why I always start with B, which is brand, because it's your job as the CEO to be the leader of that organization, and it's your job to manage your board and your job to make sure that they're educated. I recently did a survey and I asked this question, I always preface it with, I hear a lot of people complaining about their boards, a lot of people. I don't know why we need a board. I don't know why, they don't do anything, blah, blah, blah. But then when I asked, okay, well, what kind of training did you give your board, I always get crickets. So I thought, well, let me put this survey out there.
Mhm.
And I did. And 66% of the people said they rarely give training to their board. And then the next level was, I think the next level was we do an annual training, which is probably the annual retreat. And who knows the quality of that. So
Yeah.
really, how can we expect your boards to get better if you're not investing in developing them and sharing these best practices out?
Yeah, absolutely. And my view for the boards usually is they are volunteers. So you have to make it very easy to them what you need from them, and you cannot need everything. So if you have a treasurer, you cannot accept them to do your bookkeeping and
Nope.
the budget and everything. They are there for advocacy, for maybe give you
Yes.
access somewhere. So
Yes.
like that needs to be taken into consideration. Like who
Yes.
are these board member, why they are board member, and how much of their time can be dedicated to the nonprofits.
Yeah.
So this is really important. Also, like be clear and communicate to them what you need from them, and don't over request. I see a lot of
No.
people, we have a board meeting to decide if we can sign up for this service or we can buy this stuff. Like, why don't you
No.
have a policy?
You need a policy, and that is the thing. That's why I say CEOs, it starts with them, because then they invite their board members in to micromanage. Like
Mhm.
your board does not need to tell you if you can hire the CPA or the bookkeeper. No, that's not your board's role. Your board role is to work with you to approve the budget. So for example, if I put $10,000 in professional services, then I got $10,000 for professional services. I don't need to go back to the board and say, oh, by the way, can I pay my bookkeeper $5,000, or can I pay this for this and that? No, they gave you the power when they authorized the board. Now, the details of that, that's up to you. I'll take another one, because maybe professional services might be over, some people's head. Let's say office supplies. If I have an office supply budget of $5,000, I'm not going to go back to the board and say, okay, board, I need to make a purchase of paper for $100. Will you approve that paper? No, it's the same concept. So you have a policy. And if your policy says once we exceed $5,000, then you have to get board approval, then that's what you do. But not for, $1,000, $2,000. That's, your expectations are out of line.
Yeah.
And that's not their role. And that's when you're inviting them in to micromanage. And you know what? They're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to say, here's a policy. This is a best practice. Let's look at it. And let's get it approved.
That is amazing, and that you just hit it at the point.
Yeah.
You invite them because people like freak out. Like, what if the board did not agree, and like we have to wait for the board meeting? But then that's why you are the CEO. That's a very good way to look at it. So you talk about the emotional intelligence for the leaders. Like,
Yes.
can you highlight that a little bit?
Well, when you are a CEO of a nonprofit organization, it does go back to mindset. And so you have to go into it as an equal partnership. It is an equal partnership. The board is not here and you're here. You're both here, right? Now, I understand that the only employee that the board has is the CEO. I get that. But you are the expert in the day-to-day operations of that organization. So as far as you have to look at it in this emotional intelligence component, you have to look at it as if I have to develop relationships with my board as individuals. So I had a board of 21, and I had to develop relationships with these 21 individuals, not the board as a collective, right? So all of your board members are going to have different strengths, and you are going to have to communicate with them in different ways. And as a part of that emotional intelligence journey, you need to learn how to manage all of those personalities. So here's the thing. I have CEOs say, well, I emailed them and nobody responds. Well, you have to understand you're not dealing with a monolith. You're dealing with individuals. And so some individuals, if you email me, I'm not going to respond. Emails overwhelm me. So you have to be able to communicate outside of the boardroom with your board members. Have those relationships. So with your board chair, go to lunch with them at least once a month. Share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Why are you doing that? You're gaining their respect and you're establishing a relationship. Have some board champions. Board champions are people who are well respected on the board. If you want some change to happen, they're the ones that are going to be that voice for that change for you. Go to lunch with them at least once a week. I had several board champions. Other board members, pop into their office, ask them, how are you doing?
Nice.
Are you accomplishing what you want to accomplish through your service on this board? How can I support you better? And then you in turn share how they can support the organization better. But this lack of understanding, like you said, that they are volunteers. They are not as passionate about this mission as you are. They're not. And you have to realize that. They are volunteers in the community who said yes because they did the mission resonated with them, but they have full-time jobs, they have families, they have other obligations. And so you have to sit down and you have to map out what is this journey going to be with these individual board members, not board members as a monolith.
Absolutely. But we cannot get enough from your experience, from the gems that you are sharing, but we're about to run out of time. So before that, I want you to actually let people know how can they find you and work with you.
Yeah, so you can visit my website at www.supportingworldhope.com, and it will tell you all the ways that you can work with me. As you can see, I love talking, so I am a keynote, and I usually come in and I talk about, transformational leadership. But again, my passion is board of directors, so I love training board of directors and CEOs to work with their board of directors and get the best out of them. So start at my website, www.supportingworldhope.com.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sabrina. We enjoyed the time you spent here in the show. Thank you for coming. Okay, guys, this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. I'm really excited to talk now to a leader in the space of nonprofit. She founded her own nonprofit. It's her baby. She's doing an amazing job, and I wanted you to all hear from her. Welcome, Beth Tomas. Beth, welcome to Echoes of Impact. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. We're happy to have you here. We recently met, and I was very impressed with the work you are doing with the girls. So can you tell a little bit, the audience, a little bit about yourself and how did you come to found this great organization?
I by trade, I'm a graphic designer, and I spent 10 years as a Girl Scout leader, so I was very much involved in developing girl leaders, future leaders, future women leaders. And I also wanted to do book covers. So kind of, and I'm the parent of a child who wanted to be a writer and also who wanted to be an artist, and it all kind of came together. And I thought, you know what, let's create a platform where girls can learn, can express themselves creatively, where they can gain some skills, because this is a girl-led magazine that we do. And this will build confidence and hopefully build our future leaders, because we're on a mission to change the world to a place where women's voices are not only heard, but they're respected. And that happens when you respect yourself.
Yeah, I do love that, because yeah, we are the space, like you said yesterday, like we are the space, we are heard, but not always respected. We are somehow respected, but we need more respect because we deserve it. And we have to raise the girls and the boys to know that, implemented in their actually DNA, not anymore. It's not accepted to be heard and not respected. And this is an amazing work you do. So for the magazine, like how does that work? And can you take us through the process for the audience to see, and how can they actually subscribe for it?
Okay, well, first of all, it's a digital magazine. I want to make sure that people understand that this is not a magazine that you're going to find on a newsstand somewhere and pick up and hold in your hands. It's digital. And we do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, the girls who are producing the magazine, they're of the age where everything is digital anyway. Part of the idea of girls being on the team and producing this magazine is that we want them to be able to have links, and even girls who get published in the magazine, we want them to be able to have links that they can put on their electronic applications for jobs, for college, wherever they scholarship, whatever they need. We want it to be able to be accessible that way. The way the magazine runs is it's a quarterly magazine. It's a literary magazine. We publish creative content in the forms of writing, but also in the forms of art and photography and even video, which is really cool because video also covers all the rest of the performing arts. So what happens is we have right now about 9 or 10 girls on our team. They represent they're all over the US. We meet in a room on Zoom. We have since the beginning, and we strategize ways to curate content. How are we going to get out into the community and let other teens who identify as girls know about this opportunity to be published? And also, if they want to have the experience of putting this magazine together, how they can join the team as well. But it's all done online in a room on Zoom. And then they work, it's a process. We go through curation, and then girls edit the pieces. They are assigned and they become kind of the face of this girl's story to the contributor. So it's kind of a one-on-one thing with that. And then we literally use a spreadsheet to decide how the flow and layout of the magazine. It's kind of interesting and not really what you would expect in magazine production, but it works.
That's awesome. As long as it works, that's amazing. But how old the girl has to be? What's their age group in order to be on a team?
Teens who identify as girls. So 13 to 19, you can publish, you can submit content to be considered for publication. And we publish about 99% of what's contributed, because that's the point. To be on the team, you need to be in high school, or you can be in college through age 19. So still staying within the 13 to 19, but high school, we want you to be in high school to be on the team, because you need a little bit more experience that you get in middle school with group work that is really, really important in putting this magazine together.
This is amazing. And I want to just reiterate the benefit from being with a team member with you. They can get the experience of how to produce a magazine, like with what they have, talk about themselves, express their voice, and also they can benefit from that with the application for college application. What can you add? Is there anything we need to add to this?
Well, a couple of things to think about. Number one, whether you're going to college or you're going into the work world, if you can say, hey, I've been published, that says a lot to even an employer, because it shows that you took the initiative, you took that good risk, that healthy risk of making yourself vulnerable to submit something to be considered for publication, that you took the time to do that. That says a lot, both on a college application and on a job application. So that's a definite benefit. Girls who are on the team, they write a blog every week. So they're getting experience in developing their writing skills. They have to curate the content, which means they have to get out there in the community. So they're learning to do outreach, to do marketing. These are skills that are going to be able to take, that they're going to take into their adulthood and help them in their adult life, whatever path they follow. So and we have opportunities. Girls have covered large events, large scale events, and written it up, taken photographs, done interviews. They've done that. They also work in some of the outreach. We just had a zine workshop where a couple of the girls came and helped present the workshop, but also one was taking video, because she's going to be making a highlight reel video. So that's an opportunity for her to develop her skills, and she wants to go into filmmaking. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
Now we have lots of opportunities.
Oh, and you do support girls around the globe. It's not only in the
Yes,
Chicago
we have
area.
published from 8 different countries. So,
nice.
and one of our team members is in Mexico. So, and another, one of our newer team members is in Kentucky, but is a resident here. She's actually British.
Oh,
So
that's
we have quite an international team.
That's amazing. Is there any other way for the girls to get involved, or just they have to be part of the team?
Oh, I mean, you don't have to be part of the team to be published. You can simply publish. But we recently had an art show, a couple of art shows this year. We're looking to do some more live events. We are headquartered in DuPage County in Illinois. So those girls who are on the team or who are local, whether they're on the team or not, have opportunities to participate in some of our events. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that girls can get involved.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I know you guys are preparing for a great event on September. Can you let us a little bit about the event so people can come and support you and see what you have?
Yeah, it's our first major event. It's a fundraising event. We're having a cocktail party. And we will be showcasing what we've done. There will be board members are going to be available. People can come and learn more about the activity, and they can also support us with a donation. We are a nonprofit, so with donations, we're also looking for people who want to. There's going to be a raffle at this event. We're looking for people who want us who want to donate something to be raffled off. We're also looking for sponsors for food and beverage to kind of help defray the cost, so that all of the money that comes in can go straight into the work of the mission of this girl's story.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. So for those who are not in the area in DuPage County or in Chicagoland area, how can they support you?
Oh, the first and foremost is become a member of our audience. These girls have important things to say, and oh my gosh, amazing things to say. Like I said, we put out a weekly newsletter, and it is surrounded. The main feature of the newsletter, and really the only thing that you have to spend more than 3 seconds reading, is the blog. So this is exclusively for girls who are on the editorial team. They write about whatever they want, which is unlike our magazine issues. Those are themed, so they can write whatever. And we've had it from fangirls, talking about a favorite album, to talking about women's issues, to one that we actually had to put a trigger warning on because we had the girl wrote about a hard lockdown when somebody brought a gun to her school. So sign up for our newsletter. That's free. Then sign up and subscribe to our magazine. You get 4 issues of a year. It comes to your email inbox, and that's $25 for 4 issues. And that's another way to provide that audience. And that's critical. These girls have these wonderful things to say. We want to build that audience so that there's an audience for what they have to say and spread the word.
That's awesome. So they can go to your website and be able to subscribe to both, right?
Right. Right.
Awesome.
You subscribe through the shop page, and then you would subscribe to the blog through the blog page, which you can also go and read past blogs.
That's amazing. And guys, this is a message from me. Go ahead and subscribe. Make those girls feel heard and respected by your subscription. So go ahead and support. This is a very easy way to support. Go ahead and support the event also they're having on September. Make them feel heard and supported and respected. We want to raise a different generation, a great generation into our world. Girls can make our world having more love, more peace. We all need to have powerful, respected girls. So thank you so much, Beth, for the great work you're doing. I really appreciate your work and your participation, your contribution to the community. Hopefully, like, you will see your organization thriving soon with thousands or millions of girls around the world. Thank you again. Thank you for being here with me at Echoes of Impact. Guys,
thanks for having me.
Of course. This is the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed the journey today. Message me, email me at hello@Noura. Well, not Noura's. I was gonna give you my work email. No, hello@echoesofimpact.net. If you wanna connect with any of our guests, if you would like to come to the show, make sure you join us. All right, email me and join us next Tuesday at 5 p.m. again. See you. Until next time, keep making an impact.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.